All right. Now, where we left off was a question. Now, I told you guys I'm not as young as I used to be. So I've already forgotten the question.
I'll keep my thoughts to myself.
Corey, I think you remember the question. Do you remember the question? See, he didn't forget the question too. So that question was, okay. See. Right. Got it. Corey, you want to take it first?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So
earnest money deposit, how do you handle it, and what happens to all that money?
So first, let me explain what the earnest money deposit does. Okay, this is what the earnest money deposit does.
Preach on.
In the case of the buyer, if the property is $100,000, the sales price of the property is $100,000. That earnest money deposit goes to the sales price of that property. So if they put down $5,000. That means now they have to bring to the table $95,000. Does that make sense? Okay. As far as who pays you in that regard when it comes to the assignment fee, at this point, we have the property under contract with the seller.
For right? $85,000.
Yes. Okay, great. For $85,000, we have the property under contract with the seller.
Yep.
The buyer, your end buyer, you've now negotiated that they're going to pay $100,000 on this property, for this property. So now the 100,000 and 85, you'll get the difference of that, which means that technically the buyer is paying you with their overage that they're paying. Go ahead.
Does the seller know about?
Good question.
I didn't hear.
Does the seller know that this is going on?
The seller normally doesn't know, but they know that you've already had a conversation with them that you're going to assign or there's going to be another buyer involved, but they may not know exactly what the numbers look like, if that's the question.
When the HUD-1 is created,
right,
they will show the distribution of funds. $85,000 to you, $15,000 to him.
Right.
Or the whatever.
85 to the seller,
right.
15 to whatever your entity, your name or your entity, and the buyer purchased at 100,000.
Exactly. Yes, go ahead.
To avoid that, you can do a double close.
Oh, absolutely. Now, which brings that to that topic. At what point should you do a double close on a deal?
Right.
Now, you're going to hear me and Corey say the same thing. It depends. It depends on, one, the profit being made, two, the relationship you have with the buyer. Because most of the buyers I have a relationship with, they could care less how much money I'm making. So they have no problem with me making $80,000 as a wholesale fee because they're going to make $190,000 as a profit. So people that I have a relationship with don't care because that's the relationship I have with them as an experienced buyer. However, Corey, tell them what could happen.
On the other end of that, you have people that think, well, I could have made more money. $80,000 you're making? I know I'm making almost 200, but I could have made 220. So now what happens in that situation, you have some buyers that may wait to the last minute to say, I don't want to buy or I want to negotiate the price.
Now, think about what Corey just said. He waited to the last minute. You're about to make $80,000. You counted that money. You already got your tickets to Hawaii, and he's about to make $80,000. And this guy comes to you and say, "You can't. I'm not going to let you. No, I want 30. No. I'm not. I don't feel comfortable paying you $80,000 wholesale fee, Corey. I don't feel comfortable giving you that.
Wait a minute. No.
No.
I'm not going to make $80,000. Yeah,
Now, think about what Corey said.
What?
Closing is tomorrow.
What?
So you got that money sitting right there tomorrow. And he comes to you and say, no, you're not going to make 80. I don't have a problem with you making 30.
Wait, I'm glad I'm a smart guy, though, not thinking ahead.
So I don't have a problem with you making 30. Now, think about this. Let's put this into the equation. Corey don't have any more time to get another buyer.
Uh-huh.
He only has until tomorrow to close. So I go to Corey. I don't feel comfortable with you making 80. I'll give you 30.
Is
And
that
you're
right?
going to say,
I'm going to say, forget you.
now tell him why.
I'm going to tell you why, because one of two things. Either, see, with my seller, I told my seller 30 business days.
Now, just do what I said.
Hold up.
The property goes out of contract tomorrow.
I got you. Hold up. Which contract are we talking about? The
seller
assignment or the
contract.
seller?
The seller contract.
Well, the seller contract. I can first go and get an extension with the seller to see if I can get an extension with the seller.
That's your first thing you can do, is try to get an extension to solve this issue. That's your first thing you can do. What else?
I could just take the beating and just take the 30. It never worked with this guy ever again. Forget him. Damn it.
Now, come on, guys. Now, come on. First of all, how many of you guys, and I want to be honest with yourself. Please be honest with yourself. Underneath of that situation, how many of you guys would take the 30? How many of you guys would let the deal go to the wayside? Because you can't get a seller to do an extension. So how many of you would go out of contract? Remember, I told you the contract ends tomorrow. You're not getting an extension. So how many would take the 30? Now, here's the point I'm trying to make. Here's the point I'm trying to make. This is the reason why some unscrupulous investors do that. Because they know that there's nothing you can do about it unless that seller gives you an extension. Which brings to his question. The way you could solve that problem is to do a double closing. In other words, you would buy it on the front end, paying the closing costs. So in other words, you don't have $20,000 worth of closing costs. You may have $5,000 worth of closing costs, but you still have to come up with the money to buy it, which is going to cost you transactional funding or gap funding.
Right.
So that's the reason for the double close. If you fear that your buyer may pull a Corey Banks on you.
Wait a minute. I'm the victim here. I'm the victim.
I'm just joking.
But here's a...
Hold on.
Okay.
Let's give him a chance. Go.
One last comment. So, if you have a relationship, and to go back to your point, with your title company, you've done a lot of business with them. That's why you don't want to be shopping with everybody. You want to build a relationship with one company and get to know them. They will do a double close with you with only one loan. They can do that.
Hold on. I know what you're saying. And we used to do that back in the day. We call it a dry closing.
Someone's going to get in trouble.
Now I'm going to tell you right now, I don't look good in stripes. So it has to be the right title company. Now, I don't know the title company, being honest with you. I don't know of a title company myself, but you are now, so we would love to hear the recommendation. Give it to us.
I got 20 years with this guy.
Give it to us.
It worked for me.
Give it to us.
He's like, I'm not putting it. But
Okay. So in other words, don't do it.
right.
Don't. Well, let's put it like this. You can ask. You ain't gonna go. Well, you can go to jail by asking too. But you can ask. You can ask. You know, I'm going with this. You can ask. But typically, gap funding, transactional funding, double close if you're uncertain with your buyer and there's a high profit. The question is, what is considered a high profit? Everybody has that determination. I definitely think $50,000 is a high profit. And if it's going to cost me less to get transactional funding or gap funding to close this deal, I have no problem getting transactional funding or gap funding if I'm afraid that this buyer may back out.
And then to that, sometimes depending on the market that you're in, because like in DC versus Baltimore, $50,000 assignment fee in Baltimore versus a $50,000 assignment fee in DC is not the same.
In Baltimore, they will cut your throat
Right.
for a $50,000 assignment fee.
They'll find your mama.
Oh my goodness. I'm talking Goodfellas. I'm talking
Right.
The Godfather. I'm talking New Jack City. I'm talking it. They will cut your throat for a $50,000 profit, wholesale fee.
Now let me say, to reduce.
Not all investors. Don't get me wrong. It's not all investors. I'm just saying the ones that are already cruddy, they will show their stripes when there's a $50,000 assignment fee being there.
Now let me tell you, to reduce being under the gun like that. So remember, 30 business days is really 45 days. Do we agree to that? Now, when you find that end buyer, you're not going to say, we're going to close in 30 business days. We're trying to close in like 2 weeks. So now what happens is, if the second week we're supposed to close, and they're like, nah, I know we're supposed to close tomorrow, but okay, forget you. I had 2 or 3 other buyers that's ready to close, and I'm not working with you anymore, and keep it moving.
Give you an example. The wholesale deal I'm doing right now with George. George, we got a $35,000 wholesale fee. Do you care about that?
Nope.
See? That's George. You got to find your George. Because George is, depending on which exit strategy he chooses, he's going to make up higher 5 to 6 figures on this deal, depending on the exit strategy he chooses.
Can I get $1, George?
Not only that, and here's the thing about it. This is a perfect example. George has already given us how many extensions, George?
2.
2 extensions. Because we had issue with title. Mm-hmm. And George has already given us, now, this goes to your point. We got 60 banking days on the closing. 60 banking days. That's a total of 90 days. So I've only been under contract with George for 4 weeks. I made sure that my contract with George was short enough so that if George acted up,
yeah, we know how George can be sometimes.
yeah, George acted up.
Yeah, man.
I mean, when you got somebody with pretty eyes like that, you got to watch out for him.
Okay.
George, you know what I'm playing with. I've known George for years. George was one of my when I started Mastermind in 2002, George was one of my original students. So that's how long we've been together. Back.
Online question from Miss Tina Hall. What is the average fee that a wholesaler can make on a deal?
Tell Tina, what's love got to do with it?
Oh my goodness.
Okay. What's the average fee?
I can't stand him.
Okay, what's the average fee one can make on a wholesale deal? Corey, what you know what I'm going to say? She said that.
It depends.
There you go.
Let me help. Let me get this out real quick.
This is for Tina now.
This is for everybody.
Okay.
It's for everybody.
Okay.
What we need to do is stop living in this box. Everything does not fit every situation. And because you're living in the box of what's common, just because it's common doesn't mean that you have to do it. That doesn't mean in Baltimore, on average, you're looking at a $5,000, maybe $10,000 assignment fee. That doesn't mean that you don't have other wholesalers that are making 15, 20, 30,000 or more
Right.
on a wholesale deal.
Right.
And with that same point, if you're saying on average, I'm gonna make $5,000, and then you go to DC and you're gonna make $5,000, and on average they're making $50,000 to $100,000 on an assignment fee, you're gonna be upset when you find out I'm missing out on all this money. I put down $5,000 for an earnest money deposit. Well, I can only put down 10 or 100. So stop living in that box of what's common and look at what you can really do and pay attention to that, because that's how your business is going to grow to another level.
Exactly. Give him applause.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Next, another person part of your power team is an investor-friendly real estate agent. What is an investor-friendly real estate agent? Corey Banks?
Me. Oh, no, an investor-friendly real estate agent is an agent who understands the deal, and from my definition and what I do, who understands how to find the deals on and off market, who understand the numbers and can give you the right numbers as an investor needs. Days on market, ARV, can give you an average of what the repair cost is going to be. Understanding the deal structure and what you need to do. Also going back to numbers, understanding your exit strategy. If you are a buy and hold investor and you're looking to do BRRRR, that means that we need to be 70 to 75% loan of value. So that means that we need to purchase the property and make sure that we're rehabbing around this amount. And your rental amount is going to be X amount per month. If you're looking at the rehabbing, we need to understand the numbers of rehab costs and understanding that once the property goes into contract and you sell the property, what your profit is going to look like when you close on both times to purchase the property and when you go to sell the property. What does that profit look like after those numbers? So really understanding your numbers and understanding the deal.
That's the key. Having somebody that you could feel comfortable bouncing off deals with that could give you professional advice. Now, here's the caveat to that. You have to understand that nothing is a certainty. Advice is advice. You still have to make the final decision. You still have to say, let's pull the trigger. But when you have somebody in your corner who you trust their judgment, who you trust their knowledge, it can help make that decision a lot less stressful. That's the difference of working with an investor-friendly agent who knows the business and somebody that's just an agent. That's the key.
So let me tell you an example of some things that has happened, right? I was meeting with some new investors, and what happened, they said that, well, we were working with this other agent, and they said they were investor friendly, but they kept sending us to places like Fed Hill with properties that really didn't need a lot of work, and the numbers didn't make sense. And all they were looking at were properties that were on the MLS. So they spent a lot of time with this agent because they said they were investor friendly, but they didn't understand the deal structure and understand what they needed in order to reach their goal. We sat down, I listened to what they were talking about, listened to what they wanted, and I also gave them other suggestions and other ways to move with those what they're looking to do. So we sat down on, let's say, 1 week, and within 2 weeks we had a property under contract, and we just closed. That was actually Felipe and Bruno's deal. When did we close on that?
3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago. So we just closed 3 weeks ago on that particular deal.
Now, that particular deal, Felipe, where did you get that lead from?
Was from Zero for sale by owner.
And where did you get the buyer from?
From Corey.
Think about this. Exactly. Think about this. Investor-friendly agents have buyers that are investors. It will save you time in having to find the opportunities or market for buyers. So, the next point I want to bring up to you guys is that the biggest misconception that a lot of new investors believe is that you're going to find a contractor that's going to go to you at all these properties that you want to wholesale and give you estimate for repairs.
Amina, pay attention.
How many of you guys think that's going to happen? How many of you guys was told by a guru that you can contact contractors and they'll go to you and give you free estimate of repairs? That's not how it works in the real world. It's not. In the real world, you have to, one, either gain the knowledge to estimate repairs, or two, pay somebody that knowledge to get estimates of repairs. They're not going to do it for free. And the cheapest and the easiest way that I've seen that is done on a regular basis is to, one, yes, reach out to a contractor, but pay the contractor to walk through a property and break down the rehab cost of that property from stud to finish. Pay one time, $50, $75, $100, and use that as a general cheat sheet based on square footage that you can use to estimate or learn to estimate repairs. There's no shortcut to estimating repairs. There really isn't. It's all about what's the general price or cost for materials and labor for the particular area that you are investing in. And the number one place to get that information from is a contractor. But no one will go to properties and give you estimates just because you're going to wholesale a deal and they not get something out of that process.
We have a question to your left.
So regarding that, you talked about the difference between DC and Maryland. It's your market. How much you offer your contractor to come in? It's actually a two-part question. How much you offer your contractor to come in will vary based on those locations, or how much they're willing to accept to do such things?
Well, I'll tell you that the short answer to that is yes. Generally, it's based on the location for where the actual deals is going to be at. In DC, we're looking easily anywhere from $50,000, $75,000 to $100,000 more in rehab costs for the same deal that I can get done here in Baltimore.
Like the contractor's going to charge you more for the
It's not what they're going to charge you more. It's what you're going to be offering to pay them and what they're willing to say yes to. Because you're going to say, hey, I got a property I want to walk through. I want to pay you to walk through this property and give me a breakdown of what it would cost me to rehab the house.
Now, the second part the estimates, because you have different sources.
Let me tell you right now, this is just somebody paying you to walk through a property. You want to have to get to the point where, okay, these numbers are close to good or good enough. In other words, as a wholesaler, you do not have to be accurate in your estimate of repairs. You have to be close, good enough. Because him, the rehabber, is going to come up with his own numbers. He's not going to use your numbers. As a matter of fact, I know a lot of wholesalers who don't even put repair estimates. They just put the deal because an experienced investor will use their own numbers. So it's up to you if you want to go that extra mile and add numbers to the estimate of repairs. But you literally could go either way. Basically, hey, this is the actual R of the property. These are what properties are selling for. This is how much I want to sell for. And the actual print will say, do your own due diligence.
Now, I would add this to that, though, right? The more, I always say, do you want to be a wholesaler or do you want to be an expert? So the more you understand and the more you know.
Of course.
It makes you more credible.
Right.
Which now you build your business because people are looking at you. And when you're saying that you may not be accurate, because let's be honest, many contractors aren't accurate, but they're close.
Exactly.
Get what I'm saying? So if you're looking at it from that perspective and you're giving the right information and you're giving more detailed information than what the other wholesalers are giving, now your buyers are going to always trust and be comfortable with doing business with you, which makes business a lot easier.
They'll be comfortable, but they're gonna still run their own numbers.
Oh, definitely, but still.
They're gonna run. Ain't no experienced investor gonna run their numbers.
Amina has a question. She's like,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So that brings me to my question. Is there a certain amount of time, starting from wholesaling and going up the ladder, is there a certain amount of time to say, I kind of want to get to where all the others are?
No. First, no, there's no certain amount of time, right? It's when you're ready.
Okay.
And I'm gonna tell you a secret, right? I'm gonna tell you a secret. Okay, are you ready?
Get closer. Get closer.
Let me tell you a secret.
Whisper.
These other people don't matter. It's not about them. It's about you. Run your race. That's it.
George, talk to me.
Please, if you are a wholesaler or you want to sell some property, buy a laser tape measure, take pictures and measurements. I get calls from people all the time. Hey, how much it'll be paid? Well, what are you going to do with it? I don't know. You have to know. You have to take the camera, laser tape measure, measure everything, get the dimensions,
Yeah.
of the kitchen, provide information. If somebody calls me and they say they don't know what to do, and they say come look at the property, $700. If you can give me information, I might say I'm in the area, I'll do it for free. But people who don't take the time to do their own thing,
Exactly.
I'm just going to believe
And that goes into how do you present the offer? How do you present the deal? And we're going to show you an example of that, how that looks. Now, sooner or later, you're going to need what? Proof of funds. Proof of funds. Clifton, is you in the room? Clifton, have you used this company before?
Yes, sir.
This is in my opinion, this is what you came here for, guys. This is where nobody shares stuff like the mad scientists. This company will give you a proof of funds for $10. And the person who you give the proof of funds to can call them up and they will verify the proof of funds.
What? Can you say that one more time? I missed that last part.
They will give you a phone number on the proof of funds letter that their person, like a real estate, Corey, in fact, Clifton, let's use you as an example. When we use this proof of funds company, who did we give the proof of funds letter to?
Gave it to me? Yeah.
And who Corey gave it to?
The agent.
So he gave it to a real estate agent. And what did the real estate agent do?
Called the proof of funds to verify that it's a legitimate company.
And what did the proof of funds company say?
The legitimate company.
$10.
We got the money.
Got the money, closed the deal. Proof of funds. Go Capital. That's the company. Next. And by the way, that's the web address right there. If you want to take a picture,
I got it. I heard it. I got it.
It's right there. It's like Van.
That's what you've been looking for all this time? Okay.
Let's go over some numbers.
My favorite part.
Some hard numbers.
My favorite part.
This is the part that really, really makes you nice. For every 20 to 25 leads you get as a new investor, you should be able to close 5% to 10%, which means for every 25 people that says they want to sell, you should be closing 1 or 2 deals as a new investor. As a new investor, 25 to 20 to 25 people who say they want to sell, you should get 2 deals closed. Now, there's been a lot of talk about the maximum allowable offer. Does it work? Does it not work? Cliff, did you close the deal using the maximum allowable offer?
Yes, sir.
Quan, did you close the deal using the maximum allowable offer?
Yes, sir.
Denise. No, not you, Denise. Sharita, did you close the deal using the maximum allowable offer?
I use this phone.
Felipe, did you close the deal using the maximum allowable offer?
Yeah.
Who else? Tony, did you close the deal using the maximum allowable offer? Tony here?
T.R.
Okay, so my point I'm trying to make. Don't let anybody tell you that this formula doesn't work. When people say something doesn't work, what they're really saying is, I don't know how to make it work. That's what they're saying. Now, what will change is this. In some areas, it will be 60%. In some areas, it will be 65%. In some areas, it will be 70%. That will change. But as a wholesaler, you can use the maximum allowable offer formula after repair value times 65%, 60%, or 70% minus repairs, minus your profit. That's the most that you should pay for a deal. But I'm going to give you the mad scientist way of doing this. Let's use some round numbers. You got a $100,000 property. 65% of that $100,000 property is $65,000. The repairs is 20. So now we at $45,000. The profit you want to make, because it's only $100,000, is $5,000. So what are we at now? We're at $40,000. That's the number that you are the maximum amount you want to pay in order to make $5,000. I'm going to tell you to subtract another 10 to 15% below that maximum amount. Why? Because some sellers will negotiate you up. So your offer should be another 10 to 15% below $40,000. In case they want to negotiate you up. If they don't, you just made another 10% profit. So don't let anybody tell you that the maximum allowable offer formula, even though there's only a few people saying that, a few gurus online were saying that, it's still the premier way to figure out what you should pay as a wholesaler. Now, here's the caveat. The maximum allowable offer does not work on deals above $250,000. If the ARV is above $250,000, I do not recommend using that formula. I recommend using the adequate profit equation. And all that is a subjective number. What would be considered a good profit to your end buyer? Minus your repairs, minus your profit. And the way I do it is, if I have a property that is an ARV of $500,000, I better put at least $75,000 in my pocket or more. If I'm at $800,000, I better put $125,000 in my pocket or more. If I'm at $1 million, I better be close to $200,000 in profit or more. So I'm using the profit that the rehabber should make to determine how much I'm going to give that seller to make that deal work. But it only chooses this approach if the deal value is significantly above $250,000. And the maximum allowable offer will not apply.
And I'm going to add to that. I'm going to give everyone a secret in here that no one talks about. And that is, it's not about you first. When I speak to different wholesalers and they bring me deals, and then I break down the numbers, and we're looking at the maximum allowable offer, they're worried about how much they're going to make first versus the deal. I don't understand, how can you make $20,000 off a property, the ARV is $175, and you're selling the property for $120,000, and come to find out you have a $30,000 assignment fee. I'm confused. Right? So many times what happens is, it's always, well, I'm trying to make this. It's not about you. It's not about you first. It's about your end buyer. It's about that seller. Once you understand that you're looking to solve a problem, now those numbers will work a whole lot better. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
Now, let's get down to what you say. And this is going to be an exercise. This is, in my opinion, the best seller questionnaire you could ever use.
Ask
Best
questions.
seller questionnaire you could ever use. You have your standard information: property address, owner's name, home phone number, cell, yada, yada, yada. Detached, semi-detached row house. Question: what can you tell me about the property? Now, the reason why we're asking that question is we want the seller to start talking. The seller should be talking 3-4 times more than you should be. So you're going to ask a general question: what can you tell me about your property? Next question: how much do properties like yours sell for in the area? You want to know if the person has any knowledge of value. Do they know what houses in that area sell for? That's going to go towards their actual ability to estimate repairs, or their ability to estimate what the actual property is worth. And it's going to give you an actual insight on whether or not you're dealing with somebody who has experience or not. Do your property need any repairs? This is a general question. Yes or no. You're going to have sellers that tell you no repairs and the roof is falling in. And you're going to have the person that says yes for the repairs. Then you're going to ask and follow up with what kind of repairs. This is where you get your estimate of repairs on the phone. Next, you're going to go, how long have you owned the property? This goes into ownership, length of time. Now we get to the main numbers that count. And this is the one that hurts everybody. Is the mortgage current? Yes or no? People, when you start asking about mortgage payments, new investors get scared. Oh my goodness. This man gonna tell me to get the hell off their phone. I'm asking about his mortgage. Is it current? How dare you insult me like that? Now, how much do you owe on your mortgage? I can't tell you how important that question is. And most new investors will never get that answer. Because one, they won't never ask the question. Two, they don't feel like it's information that they are entitled to. Why? I mean, I shouldn't be asking an actual seller how much they owe on their mortgage. I wouldn't tell. And that's the biggest mistake that most new investors can make. They put themselves in the place of that person. Well, if I wouldn't tell the person how much I owe on the property, why would the seller tell? Why would that person want to tell me?
It's not about you.
Why is that so important? Because when I get numbers like that, I can structure the deal by way of a subject to. I can structure the deal by way of a rent to own. I can structure the deal by way of other exit strategies that will allow me to take over that property along with the wholesaling as a strategy. Because remember, not every deal is going to fall underneath the wholesale bucket. But that number tells me what other bucket I may have. How much is your mortgage payments? Once again, taking over payments, subject to, rent to own, owner structured financing, guaranteed rent. All these other strategies I could implement on this one deal just by asking these questions. And here's another one. How much do you need to sell? Not once. How much do they need? You got to phrase it in that way because I want $1 million, but I only need $80,000 to take care of this issue I have. Pain point. If you're unable to sell your property, what will you do? You want that seller to be reminded of the problem that they have. If I'm unable to sell the property, I'm going to lose it. If I'm unable to sell the property, it's going to be foreclosed on. If I'm unable to sell the property, I'm just going to have to keep it. No motivation. No real need. This question will get through all of that. Then you have the breakdown of the formula. And I'm going to give this to all of you guys. You have a copy of this. Now, I want to do some examples. And I want anyone just to stand up or tell me any kind of objection they normally have. And we're going to see how we can handle those objections when they come up. Whether it's talking to sellers on the phone, what objections are you or do you have issues with overcoming? Anybody?
I don't want to sell my home. I talk to sellers that own multiple properties,
Mhm.
and I'm asking them like, hey, I'm interested in, me and my partner are interested in buying your properties. Is it possible I can take one off your hand? Are you interested in selling? Have you thought about it? No, it's fine. I want to sell my property. Click.
Well, let me tell you right now, you're never going to convince somebody to sell who don't want to sell. That's not an objection.
Okay.
That's not an objection. That's a person who doesn't want to sell because you found them on a list and you called them up.
I've had persons who told me the problems that were wrong with the house,
Mm-hmm.
the repairs that they made.
Mm-hmm.
When I went to visit the property,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who they got to do the update,
Mm-hmm.
but it had to be somebody who wasn't licensed
Or blind. Mm-hmm.
and blind,
Mm-hmm.
and they still could not see that the money they wanted for the property and the condition of the property after what she had updated
Right.
was no good.
Okay, you guys are going down the path of you will never convince somebody to sell the house. That's still down the same path. If that person has a desire to get this dollar amount, there's nothing you're going to do to convince that person that they can't get that dollar amount. That's not an objection.
Well, it's
There's
not
nothing. There's nothing you're going to get somebody to do who says, I want $100,000 and that's my bottom line. There's nothing you're going to be able to do.
Is nothing, but you can try to put yourself in a better position though, right? Understand most people are visual, right? So if you've done your due diligence, and also this is where your investor-friendly agent can come in.
We're not talking about investment.
But follow where I'm going. But understanding condition, right? So you're comparing condition. Many times what happens, you have a seller who says, well, this property sold for this, so I can get that. Now, if I'm looking at a fully rehabbed property that sold for $200,000 and your property is probably just updated, it still has radiator heat and all of these things, and I'm showing you this property,
Which she said she did.
right? And I may show another property that actually sold in a condition that your property is in. Now I have two things I can compare, and I can say, well, this property was fully rehabbed and it sold at this amount. This property is close to the condition of your property, and this is the amount that it sold for. Now we can at least have a better conversation, or put me in a position to have a different conversation with them.
Yeah, but she said she showed her the information.
Okay, that part I missed.
She showed her that.
That part I missed. Okay.
So that's why I'm saying you cannot convince somebody who is stuck on a number to get off of that number if you've given them the facts as to why that number is not correct. You will never change their mind. All you can do is hope that time changes their mind. Make the offer, still make the offer, but every 3-4 weeks follow up and see if time has changed their mind. That's all you can do. Now give me an objection where you got. I'm explaining it a little wrong. Go ahead. Anybody got an objection they get on the phone they don't know how to handle?
I had a person tell me that, they owned the property.
Mm-hmm.
Their son, they wanted to have their son involved in the property.
Okay.
The son advised the mother not to sell the property.
Okay.
Because he felt that in 10 years, the property would be double what it was worth.
Mm-hmm.
He had no proof.
Okay.
Property needed massive work.
Mm-hmm.
And mom was like, well, if my son says this is what I'm gonna do, then this is what I'm gonna do.
And you're not going to top her from talking to her son and making her son, you're not going to change that. You're not. That's a situation. You're still in a situation where you're trying to get somebody to change their mind. Here's objections that you guys should be having. Why should I tell you my mortgage payment? What you need that information for? Why are you calling me? How do you get my phone number? These are what I would call problems that you would have in real life that you can handle objectively. How did you come up with that number? These are real things that you're going to face. Well, why you need my mortgage payment? Well, Mr. Jackson, you want me to give you the highest price that I can for your property, don't you? And by knowing what your mortgage information, I'm able to give you that highest price that I can as quickly as possible. You do want me to give you the highest price, don't you? That's one way of doing it. And I'm doing what's called an objective close, where I'm giving that person the knowledge that I'm going to close their property by getting the highest price that they can get for their property. Go.
When you had just texted you an objection, what do you do if the seller says, I don't want you assigning the property?
Oh, that's a good one. What do I do if the seller says, I don't want you assign, now you was planning to assign it.
Yes.
And the seller says, I don't want you to assign the property. Mr. Jackson, I understand completely why you would feel that way. There's so many different underhanded investors out here assigning properties and not giving you, the seller, exactly what you need. If you don't mind me asking, what makes you feel that way? I'm putting it in their corner. I'm trying to find out why they felt that way.
I don't want you making that much money.
There you go. Okay, Ms. Jackson, you have a problem with me making that much money on the property. But does it really matter if I'm going to give you the dollar amount that you want for your property? You do want the dollar amount that you want, don't you?
Yes.
What if they want more, though?
Meaning?
They change their mind once they realize you're getting much more money.
Well, when you say they realize I'm getting much more money, they would have already been under contract in order for them to realize I'm getting much more money. They can't back out of a contract without you suing them.
Okay. But what if they try to renegotiate?
Once again, they're under contract. So it's up to you to say yay or nay on any renegotiations because they're under contract. And I've actually sued an actual seller for non-performance. That's what it's called, non-performance, and won in court. So yes, you can sue for non-performance.
Yep. Another question, Kathy.
Well, what if they say, I have a relationship with you, I trust you, but I don't trust who you are, maybe who you will assign it to?
Then I don't believe in lying to a seller. Then Mr. Jackson, if I can't get the appropriate financing for your property, then I won't do this deal. Now, the appropriate financing is my assignment fee, my buyer. That's my appropriate financing, my buyer. But if I do that, if I don't get a buyer, I got to close. That's the key. I told you, I don't put anything under contract that I'm not prepared to close. And I advise you not to do the same thing. Do not put anything under contract that you don't prepare to close. Unless you let the seller know up front, I'm going to market this to my investors if I don't close on it, to get you the same dollar amount that you want. Now, there's a surefire way that you could do that with every deal and not have a seller say no, provided you know how to build a rapport. And that surefire way is, Mr. Jackson, if I was to go out and market your property for you for free, get you a buyer at no cost, or give you the same dollar amount that you want, would that be okay with you? As a matter of fact, if you choose to, you can continue to sell your property if you like. All I ask, if I find you a buyer before you go with my buyer. Will that work? That's how you could tell sellers up front on any deal that you plan on wholesaling that you're going to wholesale. By not giving them no reason for them to say no. You can continue to market it. If you don't like the price I'm going to get you, you don't have to go through with the contract. I'm going to get you the dollar amount that you asked for. No obligations. There's no reason for them to say no unless you did not build rapport. And that's the key.
Wait a minute, let me talk about building rapport. I just had this conversation, right? Mm-hmm. This is what happens. And I go back to, it's not about you. And the people I work with, when I start to work with them, I ask them a question. If there's a young lady sitting in the bar, right? She's minding her business, and a guy walks up to her and says, "Give me your phone number. I'm going to call you later." Right? That's how a lot of wholesalers saying when they calling sellers. They're like, "I want to buy your property. I don't know you. I don't know. I don't know any, versus just building a rapport, asking questions. It's not about you and what you want. Make it about them and ask the questions about them and build that rapport. Because more times than not, you're going to have to follow up with that particular seller because they're not going to always be ready to say, "Yeah, I'm ready to sign in the dotted line." You're going to have to follow up with them. And it's a better conversation to say, "Yeah, I know you went to that event last time we talked. How was it?" Versus, "Are you ready to sell yet?" Does that make sense? So that's why it's always important to build rapport.
This is a fact. Write this down. 85% of your deals will happen on touch 5, 6, 7, 8, or beyond. 85%. Only 15% of your leads will say yes and give you an opportunity to buy on the first touch. So if 85% takes 5 touches, and what I call a touch, phone calls, email, text, letter, whatever. If 85% takes 5 touches or more, you're in the wrong business if you're looking for that deal from only talking to the person one time.
Right.
You're in the wrong business. It's 85% 5 touches or more. We talked about earlier, people do business with who they like, know, and trust. If you're not spending 10, 15, 20 minutes on the phone with your seller, when you're talking to that seller, you're not building rapport. If you can't get a mortgage balance or a mortgage payment information, you didn't build rapport. If a loan officer can contact a seller or contact a person out of the blue about a loan financing or refinance and get a social security number on the phone, and you can't get a mortgage payment or mortgage balance, you didn't build rapport. It's not the seller. You did not build trust from that seller to make them say, "I want to do business with him or her." That's the bottom line. This business is not a business about fancy language or tricks or anything. It's about having conversations. You don't have to get into the numbers or the questions. Get into the person, who they are, what they're doing, how they've done it, what's going on. I'll give you an example. When somebody say, "I've been living in this neighborhood for 5 years." Wow, you must really love that neighborhood. What really made you stay in this neighborhood so long? So I'm thinking in terms of all these ways in which I could build a conversation about what they say. Not just answer the questions. This is another thing. You got to answer the questions that you get from a sheet such as this in your own vernacular. You got to say it the way you would say it. Don't sound like you're reading off of a piece of paper. It got to flow in the conversation. Bruce Lee said, be like water. Oh my goodness. Water has no shape or form. It just flows. Be like water.
But that means you have to listen to that seller. 5 years. What made you move? What made you move to that area before? Why you decided to move now? And then the conversation goes on, and you're building rapport, you're building comfort with that person. And before you know it, it's like, okay, yeah, you guys are friends now.
Not only that, but you guys have trust now.
Mm-hmm.
You have trust. Now, when you tell me the house around the corner sold for 80 and the house across the street sold for 70, and you thought the house sold for 120, I trust you.
Mm-hmm.
When you say, well, and this is something that all new investors feel uncomfortable about, there's nothing wrong with telling the seller that you have to make a profit. Mr. Jackson, the reason why I can't buy your property for 180 when the comps say it's worth 180 is because I have to make a profit. There's nothing wrong with saying that. Let the person be straightforward with that seller. That's the key. Let's make some money. Marketing. You're not going after distressed properties. You're going after distressed buyers. Forget distressed properties. You want distressed buyers. I wish I could do it. So when you have a distressed buyer, when you have a distressed seller, it's all about the numbers. It's not about distressed properties. It's not about that. Yes, you want distressed properties to be a part of the equation, but the sellers is what matters. That's what matters. If I don't sell my property, I won't be able to move to New York. If I don't sell my property, I won't be able to have this operation. If I don't sell my property, I'm going to go in foreclosure. If I don't sell my, and I could, and now, you know that the thing wasn't the actual condition of the property. It's the distressed seller. If you're able to put yourself in front of distressed sellers, man, there is no limit to the profits that you will be able to make. There is no limits. So the thing is, how do we get in front of distressed sellers? Where are they? They revolve around properties, but you got to have the conversation with the property owner to see if they are a distressed seller. So yes, they do connect, but it's all about the distressed seller. This is what we're talking about. What is your sellers, buyers, and renters thinking? You want to take this down, take a picture of that. Because you need to be able to fill in every part of this section of those actual 6 spots. You need to be able to put in what is your sellers, buyers thinking and feeling after you have that conversation. If you can't put that information in, you didn't have a good enough conversation to build rapport. What are they hearing from others? What are they seeing from others? Mr. Jackson, have you gotten any other conversation? Have you gotten any other letters or mail regarding the property that you have? What have other investors talked to you about this property? How have you worked with these other investors? What do they say and do? What's their tonality? Is it soft-spoken? Is it stern? What kind of tonality do they have? Most important, what keeps them up at night? What makes that seller say, I got to get out of this property? What keeps them up at night? Describe what gives them peace of mind. I had a seller tell me, if I had enough money to go to vacation on Jamaica with my daughter, man, I would be happy. So we structured a deal so that she would get money for air tickets for her and her daughter. Because we asked what did they want? What gave them peace of mind? If you can fill in this, you've built rapport. Now, a no means not yet. I may not be ready to sell yet, but I got all the details and information I need now that when I'm ready or when they're ready, they're going to come to me. Because I build a rapport to get all of this detail with that seller. I'm the most likely person. However, there is no certainty other than death and taxes.
Well, perfect example of something that happened in this room. I'm sorry, what is your name? Selma. So Selma said she had a property where the mother owned the property and it was a distressed property, right? But the son said, we shouldn't sell because it's going to double in profit in the next 10 years. So therefore, to that point, the property may have been distressed, but the seller wasn't. Versus a deal that I closed, the property couldn't even go into the property, right? But the owner of the property lived in California. On top of the owner of the property living in California, they had taxes that they owed in the property. On top of that, they had liens that they were getting from code enforcement. I think they were ready to sell by the time I called them because they were tired. See the difference?
Gauge the temperature. You want people with a fever.
Right.
That's what you want. Now, full process in deal getting. 1, generate the lead. Grab that lead somewhere. You got to generate it. Whether some tool, some system, you got to generate it. Once you generate it, you got to locate it. What do I mean by locate it? You got to do your due diligence. You got to find out the information that the person has. You got to skip trace it. You got to locate, find that detailed information. Once you do that, you got to saturate. So now you have the information of the person. Now you need to saturate them with your marketing. And last but not least, you got to designate. Determine what's going to be a high probability deal and what's going to be a low probability deal. 1, 2, 3, 4. Generate, locate, saturate, designate. These are the money-making direct mail campaigns and or marketing campaigns that we are doing today. Probate. As a matter of fact, everybody in this room, I'm going to give you free probate leads from the month of November and the month of October. You're going to get them for free. What's going on here? Exactly. Y'all tired? Okay, no problem. No problem. So, probate. We love probate. High probability, great opportunities. You easily get deals on this type of situation, but this is not I'm going to get a deal in 30 days strategy. This could take 3, 5, 6 months. You have to put oil on that wheel and roll that wheel down that way in order for this deal to work. Tired landlords, one of the best lead sources that you can have. Tired landlord is somebody that owned a property for at least 10, 15 years. And now they are just tired of being a landlord. COVID has come into place and now they are just sick and tired. Next, Bankruptcy, relief of stay. Why do I love that? Relief of stay means the person is going to be foreclosed on because the bank has decided to reach out to the judge and say, take this person off of bankruptcy. The minute the judge approved the relief of stay, they will no longer be on bankruptcy, and now you can get that property. Absentee owner, 3 to 4 levels deep. I call that absentee owner in a particular zip code with high income to debt ratio with multiple trade lines. That's 4 levels deep. Owner occupied, 3 to 4 levels deep. The same thing I just got finished saying. Driving for dollars. Oh my God, take this. Let me show you guys. This is the number one way that we've gotten cheap leads. Pass this around. Help me out. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please, help me out, please. And pass this around. Behind you and all that good stuff. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And pass this around. He's going to get you. These door hangers cost us a total of $274. We got a total of $1,000. So far, I've sent out, we use a total of 680. I've gotten 2 deals under contract, 1 closed, $10,000 wholesale fee, and another one is going to be closing in the next 2 weeks. That's going to be a $7,000 wholesale fee. All from a $275 investment from a company called Lady Printing. If you look at them, it has a handwritten message on the front. And then it has our actual company information on the back. This is how a mad scientist does driving for dollars. You drive around neighborhoods. You find the worst house in that neighborhood. Not only do you go to that house that's the worst house, but you also put door hangers on the houses on both sides of the street. Then you go to the next neighborhood, the next block, and so on, and do the exact same thing. Because if there is a house that is in trouble in the good neighborhood, think of all the undercover trouble that's in that same neighborhood that you don't know about. $275 for 1,000. You can get 5,000 if you want to go one size smaller. 5,000 of these for $300. Yes.
Well, and Charles, they run specials all the time.
I know.
All the time.
Now, how did they do this? I gave them the font to use to make this look handwritten. And you can actually tell them whatever message you want on your door hangers.
What was that printing company?
Lady Printing. Now we're talking 5,000 properties for $300. 1,000 properties for $250, $75. This is what we call dirt cheap marketing. Zombie properties. Zombie properties are people that are in pre-foreclosure, but they left the property. They're no longer living in them. Bad credit lists. We'll talk about that. These are people that own real estate that also have a low credit score. Notice of default. These are people that are 30, 60, 90 days late on their mortgage. Baltimore City tax sale listings. Self-explanatory. Pre-foreclosure list. Water lien list. This isn't available in all areas. Only some areas you can get this in. Failed and expired listings. Free and clear properties. Always a good standby. MLS dead leads. These are leads that's on the MLS that's over 180 days listed or more. Baltimore County City Code Enforcement List. Now, you want to find people who have not paid their rent and landlords are now filing for eviction. Maryland Judicial Case Search. That's the site you can go to. Maryland Judicial Case Search. It has all judicial cases for the state of Maryland. Baltimore City. You can tell I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. Baltimore City, Baltimore County. All the areas in Maryland. Your landlord filed for eviction. That landlord's actual address is on the eviction. That landlord's actual name is there. Now you can skip trace that information and contact that landlord, see if they want to sell. Free. This is a free list. MD land records. If you want to find out if somebody in foreclosure, you can put their address in MD land records, and you can actually see if there's a substitution of trustee. Generally speaking, when there's a substitution of trustee underneath of an address, most of the time it's a foreclosure. MD land rec. Free. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm sharing this one. Rick! You here, Rick? Come here, Rick. Rick is the head lead agent in my company. Give him a big hand. One of the number one ways that you, as an investor, can get motivated. This is something that people don't talk about. This is a free source. This is the website. Get on the side, Rick. And this website will allow you to do something that we call list stacking. You can go ahead and for free. And now the actual list is in the download folder. If you go to download, you'll see them. What Rick is going to do, he's going to take lists that he have on his computer, and he's going to upload them into this website. It's free. And what that information he's going to get, absentee owners, driving for dollars lists, vacant property lists, tired landlord lists, it's going to tell him how many of those people are on multiple lists. So it's going to tell him that this person is on 5 lists. This person is on 3 lists. This person is on 2 lists. This person is on 1 list. The more lists they're on, the more distressed in multiple lists. Skip the matching and go to the result. From these lists, open it up. All of these, where's my pointer at? All of these people are on 3 lists. Highly motivated. They're on absentee. They're on, what other list we got here?
Got absentee, driving for dollars, and vacant.
Absentee, driving for dollars, and vacant. That means they're on all of these lists. The same address. Scroll down. These ones are on 2 of the 3 lists. Scroll down some more. Those are on 1 list. So the ones that are on 3 lists are the ones that are in the most trouble. So now you go after the ones that's on multiple lists hard. And this is free to use.
What's the name of the website?
Thank you, Rick. Close up. Give Rick a big hand. There it goes. If you want to come up and take a picture, you can. Or if you can take a picture that far back, that's the link. It's free 99. Now, this gets better, guys. This is where the mad scientist is the mad scientist. This is a breakdown of how you use that system. Take a picture of that. Rick put this together for you. Step by step, showing you how you use it. Go ahead, girl. I ain't mad at you. Like you really care. And he even put the website. Look at that. We got the website. Damn, well, you deserve a raise. I just wish I was paying you. Just joking. Now, like I said, it's getting better, guys. This is I like to say the best for last. For all those people that left already, I just like to say, nice knowing you. Now, what we use to generate 75% of those lists that you saw right up here. These lists, almost 75% of them, if not 80, can be done using PropStream. I'm sorry. That's actually $97 a month. It's not $49. So disregard that price. It's $97, not $49. But $97. I'm going to give you a marketing plan, a marketing budget where you're only spending $250 a month. Just $250 as your marketing budget. And if you can't afford $250 a month, you probably shouldn't be in real estate. Because it's just $250 a month. However, there's free stuff you can do. Money equates to time. Time equates to savings. Savings equates to equity profits. So, if you're able to spend more money, you're able to get deals quicker. If you're able to spend less money, it may take longer, but you're still able to get deals. Don't let nobody tell you you can't get any deals if you don't spend any money, because you can. Yes. Hold on. Is Mad Property Deals separate from PropStream? That's my affiliate link. Man, I get credit if you use that link. There you go. It is PropStream, but that's my affiliate link, madpropertydeals.com. If you use my, you're going to pay $97, girl. However, if you use my affiliate link and you tell me or send me a copy that you paid, I'm going to send you my complete business in a box. That includes thousands of dollars worth of materials for free, $99. Now, this Shack Pro, this is what we use for the bad credit list. List Shack Pro, it costs $50 a month. However, you don't have to pay $50 a month. You only have to pay $50 one time, because List Shack Pro will allow you to pull people that have houses that have bad credit. It will allow you to pull how many? 50,000 records with the phone numbers for $50. All you have to do is cancel it after 1 month. You reach your 50,000 limit, then cancel it. You do not need it for month 2, month 3, month 4. You don't need it for that. Cancel it after 1 month. You got 50,000 records with phone numbers for $50. REI Reply, the most powerful tool you can use for lead generation. $49 a month. So think in terms of this. If you say, Charles, what's the $250 budget? Number 1, PropStream. That's for lead generating lists, building your lists. Number 2, REI Reply, $49 a month. You just spend $150. $97 for PropStream, $47, $49 for REI Reply. REI Reply will allow you to, for $49 a month, send out text, send out email, send out ringless voicemail, give you a real estate website, give you Facebook bots for your business, and have a manual cold calling dollar into the whole system for $49 a month. So if you add up these 3 tools, 1, 2, 3, you're at $200. You're at $200. Your last tool. This is my secret weapon. This really isn't a tool. This guy right here, that's his actual Facebook profile. Write that down. That's what he can provide for you. The accuracy of his records, 75% accuracy or more. Skip tracing at 3 cents a record. 3 cents a record. And he also gets you the number for corporations, LLCs. Now, the accuracy of that is only 50%. But the accuracy on owners' information, 75, 80% accuracy or more. 3 cents a record.
Can you go back?
Sure. No problem. Don't need to apologize. The minimum is $5. I kid you not. As long as you're spending $5, $5 make you holler. As long as you're spending $5, that's all that matters.
And we can find him on Facebook and Fiverr?
You can find him on Facebook and Fiverr, but the easiest place would to look up his profile on Facebook, underneath his name. That's his name right there. And he looks serious too. I know. This guy don't play. I'm going to tell you right now. When you reach out to him for business, he's going to ask business from everybody. He want to know who your brother is, do they need skip tracing? Do your cousin need skip tracing? He want to know if your son needs skip tracing. He's going to want to, come on. Chances are he probably lives in a third world country and he's trying to earn a living. That's all. And he's not doing anything illegal. His data is damn good. There's no doubt about it because we use it. Now, the zero payment plan for Podio is perfect for you guys who are just starting out. You ain't spending any money for that. And it's free. It will allow you to build your actual business up when regards to how do you manage and track your numbers. Because you got to know your numbers. I teach my students every week, what are your numbers? For example, Felipe, Bruna, what was your KPI last week?
Not this week, but the other one was.
Hold on, give him a microphone. Corey, give him a microphone. Tell him your KPI.
Not this week, but the last week was around 12,000 calls.
So they made 12,000 phone calls. What else?
Out of these 12,000, we had about 500 to 600 calls connected with the agent.
500 to 600 calls connected, meaning they actually talked to somebody. What else?
Out of this number, we had around 8 to 10 leads that said yes. Not necessarily very motivated, some of them cold, but all of them said yes.
8 leads. These are numbers that you need to know. And out of the 8 leads, you made offers on all 8? Or how many you made offers on?
That's something we need to work a little bit better, but we are around 50%. Some of them we're still trying to get in touch.
Know your numbers. They've been doing this for 90 days. And they're working on your 7th deal? 6th or 7th deal? 6 deals, 90 days. Know your numbers. How many calls, how many letters, how many texts, how many this, how many connections, your numbers. Calls or whatever that other connection is, text, email, voicemail. How many people you connected to, which means your agent or you spoke to. Out of the people you spoke to, how many said yes, they have a house they want to sell? And out of the ones you said, yes, they have a house they want to sell, how many did you speak with and make an offer to? And this is something that's very important. You need to make sure that every yes gets an offer. If the person said, yes, they want to sell, you better give them an offer. That's the key. Yes, sir.
Charles, I got RA5.
Mm-hmm.
Podio have, should I use the KPI out of RA5 or should I use the KPI out of Podio?
You're going to use both in your situation because REI Reply has a built-in KPI that is for that program, but you can integrate inside of Podio by way of Zapier for free. So integrate your actual KPI from REI Reply into Podio. Yes. Great question. Great question. And the answer is going to be, it depends on your marketing budget. I got a young lady that will do cold calling for you for $5 an hour. All you need is 20 hours a week. That's it. To start off, you just need 20 hours a week to cold call. What hours should you cold call? Monday through Friday, what? 4 to 8. Or 3 to 7. Monday through Friday, 4 to 8 p.m. or 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Those are going to be your highest response time for cold calling. And if you want to get your hands on our cold calling person who does cold calling for a lot of my mastermind students, just text me or reach out on Facebook underneath the profile and say, Charles, send me Lynn's information. She does the actual cold calling for a lot of my students.
And even though you at some point you do want to leverage, or you may leverage the cold calling, at some point, even though if you're doing that, it's good to know what's being said, how to say it, or just even try it yourself so you can understand objections and how the conversation flows. And
Corey brings up a good point. I teach all of my students, you should do it at least 1 month yourself before you hire somebody. Because not that Lynn will rip you off. I want you to have a good business foundation. If you don't know what something is done and how it is done right, you can get ripped off. So you should do cold calling at least the first couple of weeks, at the very least yourself. So you know exactly how it's being done, what's being said, how many calls should be made in an hour. Just like what Felipe and Bruno told you. They're doing, how many hours? 20 hours a week? Cold calling. You're cold calling. 20 hours a week. 12,000 calls. That's a standard. If they drop down to 6,000 calls, something's going on. Somebody ain't doing something right. It's either something going on with the VA or something's going on with the technology. But the amount of calls should be around 10 to 13,000 every week for a 20-hour person who's using that time span. These are numbers that you won't get from watching YouTube videos. These are real numbers that real investors are telling you right now. Why? Because every week we have conversations about what their numbers are, what's working and what's not working. It's about the KPI. The KPI tells you what's working, what's not working, what you need to double down on, what you need to back off of. It tells you how much money you need to spend, how much money you shouldn't be spending, if you're wasting money. That's why those KPIs are so important. And I can't tell you how many people don't understand this, who don't do this. That's the reason for your success. It's not all the tools, it's the KPIs. I have no idea. Okay, I'm lying. Come on, stop it. It's key performance indicator. I just heard somebody say that. Okay. Mojo data. $49, $59 a month. Unlimited skip tracing. Unlimited skip tracing. There's only one problem. Their accuracy rate is only 50 to 75%. But it's unlimited skip tracing. So, what we do not find on Mojo, we go to Hassan. So when Mojo can't find it, Hassan will find it for you.
Why the seriousness in his face, though?
Yes. It's like that. I'm sexy in my shirt. Yes. Okay. But he's a good guy. Now, Mojo skip tracing or Mojo data, $59 a month, unlimited skip tracing. This is beautiful. I can't believe I'm sharing this one with you. The automated REI. If you ever wanted to get the phone numbers from posts that on Craigslist that don't have phone numbers, 3 cents a record, the automated REI. The automated REI. They can skip trace posts that are on Craigslist and get you the phone numbers. Even the ones that don't have the phone numbers listed. And we just talked about how tired landlords. So think outside the box. You don't want to just skip trace for sale by owner. You want to skip trace for rent as well. Because these properties are vacant. And now the landlord may be a tired landlord. What's my definition of a tired landlord? One of those landlords that just bought a property in Baltimore, and now they got that shock of the wire in their backyard. And they're used to going to Union Station, but they're not used to going to Crack Station. So that's a tired landlord when that reality hits them. And then they got a wife that says, either that property or me. We're not dealing with this anymore. That's a tired landlord. Landlords that own real estate for less than 3 years. That's 20 to 30 miles away from their property. That's a tired landlord. Who have a property that's vacant. That's a tired landlord. And this, God, I don't know how I'm sharing this with you, because this is my secret weapon. It's how you get leads off of Facebook, from Facebook groups. This strategy is called 210. And the reason why we call it 210 is because You go into Facebook. You go into the actual search bar of Facebook. And it allows you to search for different keywords. And here are some of the keywords. I don't know who wrote this. Yard sale. It's got to be somebody with a 9th grade education. That's crazy. But it's supposed to be yard sale, S-A-L-E, garage sale, buy, sell, trade, online sales, for sale and trade, classifieds, and sell trade. Now, those keywords you type in here, you'll select groups. Once you select groups, you choose the city. So in other words, you can do this in any city around the country. Once it spits out the actual groups, you join those groups. The groups should have at least 5,000 members or more. Now, how do you join the groups? You join the group in the morning between 6 and 8 a.m. and you post to that same group in the evening between 6 and 9 p.m. So in the morning you sign up, in the evening you post. Now the reason why you do this is because Facebook has an algorithm. You do not want to post properties or post ads in Facebook too quickly. The algorithm is set up that it will not flag you if you do it 6, 7, 8 hours spread. So you sign up first and then you post second. When you post second, you sign up to another 10. And the next morning, you post to that second 10. Then you sign up to another 10. And then that evening, you post to that third 10. And you do it for 2 weeks. And then you start back over with the first posting you did. Now, this is free, but it is time consuming. If you have a VA, perfect task for them to do. Perfect task. This is a powerful strategy. Would you like me to show you how it operates? Yes. I didn't hear you. Yes. Let's go. Hopefully, I still Facebook. Let's go. Okay. Now, you see the search bar. Yard. Sales. I just yard. Sales.
Use the mic, please.
I just typed in yard sale.
Wrong seminar, Charles.
No. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. Be real now. Come on. Come on. Stop it. Grow up. What I did, once I typed in yard sale, I clicked on groups. I told Facebook I want yard sale, but I also told Facebook I want yard sale groups. Look what it found. Yard sale, Washington, D.C., DMV, yada, yada, yada. Now, I'm an investor, but I want this in Baltimore City. So I'll go down to here. I click on City, Baltimore, Maryland, and I click on Public Groups. And it found these public groups for me for yard sales. 167,000 members. 58,000 members. 19,000 members, 4,000 members. I go to one, click on it. We already joined this one. And then I go to discussions and post. That's it. Join 10 in the morning, then post to the same 10 in the evening. That's it. What do you think? Hold on. That ain't. Come on. Hold on. You have a question. And I know what the question is. Go. I knew it. I'm already prepared for y'all. These are the posts. That's what you post. Damn, I'm good.
So once you post, you have to keep posting continuously?
What did I say? Yes, rinse and repeat. Every 2 weeks you go to your original postings. But every day you're going to check to see who responded. Yes. You got that picture? You got that? Take us some more. Damn, I cracked myself up. Whew. Guys, I told you this was not going to be like no ordinary meetup group. We don't play like that.
Can you go back to the first page?
I sure can. Bam. Guerrilla marketing strategy. Free. The best free way to generate leads from Facebook groups. Please, change up the verbiage. Everybody should not be using the same verbiage. No. We good?
Yep, we're good.
We're good? Okay. Yes.
Would you recommend using your own Facebook profile or take a different one?
Question is, would I recommend using my own or a different one? It depends on what I'm trying to portray. Am I trying to portray an official company? Or I'm just trying to portray somebody that's interested in buying deals. If you're trying to portray an official company, then you use your own business page profile. If you're just trying to be that person out there, which is the way we do it, we just that person out there that's looking for a property to buy. We use our own profile.
Hey Charles, you guys run Facebook ads too?
Facebook ads, not now. You good? That's it! Tony! Let's give! Come on, baby.